Well, hello, welcome back to Tale 3 Cabins. I thought I would talk a little bit about this cab in the middle of summer. I'm making a little headway here on this stump I'm pulling out, but I put this cab on back in early January, late December, between the holidays last year. And my neighbors probably considered one of the greatest investments I ever made, because when I put this on, it was in the height of winter and we had a couple snowstorms. And I was nice and comfy in here, had the heat going, everything enclosed. I was able to plow our driveway, and then I felt, well, I feel comfortable out here, let me do my neighbor's driveway. And then I did the neighbor next door to theirs, and then the neighbor next door to theirs. So they really made out when it came to me putting a cab on. But now it's summertime and there's no snow flying, and I thought I would talk a little bit about having this cab in the height of summer. So let me reposition the tractor, because I'm in the shade, which is great from this cab. I got to turn anyways to get this stump out. I'm making a little bit of headway, getting into the sun, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, first thing to mention is a lot of folks made comments when I first put this on exactly how the backhoe is going to work. And as you can see, I pretty much have enough room. I weigh about 200 pounds, about 6'2". I suppose if you were up in the 300-pound area that you might be feeling a little confined. If you got some winter clothes on, it might be a little bit worse. But really, I got no problem with the controls. It's pretty much as is. This might protrude a little bit more than the ROPS used to, but that's about it. I can still reach the toolbox. I can still reach back here and get to the ignition and to the throttle, and also I can still control the loader bucket. So everything is pretty much stayed the same when it comes to using the loader. Now, I will tell you, when I first put this on and I was having a good time plowing snow and taking care of people's driveways, being in the inclement weather, and then comes April, the weather is still a little bit on the cool side, but I was able to pop the doors open if it was raining or a little bit of sprinkle out. I'd have this roof over my head, so I could still continue to work, but you can only continue to work at a certain point when it starts raining, because then everything starts to get sloppy and muddy. It can help you buy you a little bit more time if it starts raining, because you got some cover over your head, but once it gets too messy, then you're pretty much done. So I did have a concern when I started putting this on in the wintertime about what I would do when the summer hit. My concern was I kind of like that open air feeling. I guess it's like owning a convertible. You know, you like to have a convertible in the summertime, pop that top off, wind blowing through your hair. I knew that this top is going to stay on. It's too labor intensive to try to remove this and then reinstall it every winter and take it off in the spring. I knew it was staying on. Now you have the benefit of rolling this back window up, taking off your doors so it stays pretty airy, so it doesn't get overly warm in here. The canopy does help when the sun's out, because you get a little bit of shade. Right now I face myself in the sun so you can see me a little bit better, but I could position myself on the opposite end and I'd be in the shade the whole time. If I were in the driver's seat, I'd be pretty much in the shade most of the time. There's a little fan here that was for the heater, but you can actually shut this heater off. There's hoses underneath in the engine compartment, and there's a valve to turn off the heater hose that supplies this little radiator inside. You can use these vents still, turn that fan on and get some air circulating, and it actually doesn't work too bad. It works better than I thought it would. It doesn't bring any heat from the engine compartment area. It just recycles the air that's in the cab and by this side door area. So my concern about having this top on in the summertime, like I said, there's trade-offs with everything. I do feel a little less agile. I haven't taken this down to southern Ohio yet. I'm probably going to do that in the fall, and we're going to clear out some trails for hunting, going through the woods with this and all the tree limbs. And I know when we had it last time down there and I didn't have this top on, I was banging a lot of tree limbs with the ROPS. And I'll be a little bit more concerned about hitting tree limbs and having to clear out a taller area to make a path for this tractor to get through. But like I said, it's mid-July, so I have had a lot of projects that I've been working on. I've been using this throughout the summer, and it hasn't inhibited me at all, especially around the homestead here. I started out in the spring clearing out this area to make a pad for the front of the pole barn, and the weather was still kind of iffy and inclement. Sometimes we were getting snow, sometimes we were getting rain. So with a project like that, we're kind of at the end of winter, beginning of spring. Sometimes I'd have the doors off. Sometimes I'd have the doors off and still run the heat a little bit just to bring a little heat because it might have been in the 40s. But I can't say that the cab has been a hindrance at all. The only thing that I will say is that I did notice that the stability of the tractor was less because of all this weight on top. If you watched the previous video, I ended up putting some spacers on, and we'll see how we do the rest of the summer doing some projects. So if I had a chance to do it again, would I put a cab on again? The answer is yes. In the wintertime, it's a no-brainer. It definitely makes sense. It's a great thing to have, and it gives you a lot of capability to stay outside longer. Plowing snow in just a light long-sleeve t-shirt or sweatshirt is pretty cool. Now, are there times where I wish I had the open air feeling with no cab on? Yes, I gotta say that it's pretty cool sometimes doing projects and the weather's just right and you're cruising around and you got a nice breeze blowing and you're open air and you got a lot of good visibility of everything. And those are perfect conditions for not having a cab. They're not that frequent. To me, it's like the convertible syndrome. I used to have a Jeep where I could take the top off, and it was cool to have a Jeep that you could take the top off and have that convertible feeling, but it's probably not the most practical in the long run. It was good. We had as a second car, it was my car, but we never took the roof off that often. It was always a little bit of a chore to take it off. People that have convertibles that they usually don't use it as their full-time car. It's just like a recreational car. So it's not a practical everyday use of a convertible, especially in the wintertime. So I have the same analogy when it comes to using a cab with a tractor as a convertible with a car. So as most of you know, this is a Curtis cab, and they range, I think the price went up a little bit since I installed this, maybe about $300 or $400, but they're maybe around $4,300 for this particular cab that I put on. So everything is hard-sided, the top here, the windshield in the front, but then the doors are a hard plastic that hold up pretty well and they seal pretty good, and then this back part is plastic which rolls down. They do make another model that's a tier up from this that is all hard-sided and glass, but I felt that that was a little bit too extreme for me. Probably if you're in a very extreme climate and it's very chilly in the wintertime where you're talking 0-degree temperatures all the time, you might want to opt for that choice. Now, having used it for 7 months now, I've been using it on quite a few projects and nothing has come loose. It doesn't get rickety or shaky. My only qualm is probably, and this is before I even had the cab on, is my view of when I'm trying to line up something, either lifting up a trailer or something intricate in front of the loader. I try to see, and I have view on the left side because there's a little window there, but on the right side it's blocked because of the heater. And I think I'm going to alleviate that finally after having this tractor since 2018. I'm probably going to disconnect the safety switch on the seat, and that's going to allow me to get up and look without the engine cutting off, and that will take care of that little issue. A lot of you probably wonder why I haven't changed it already, and I ask myself that right now as I'm thinking about it. It's definitely been a hindrance having that safety feature. I can't see where it could have come in handy for me to have it on in the last 4 years, so knock on steel. Hopefully I don't need it. Now I do have another option to circulate air. I have a small rechargeable fan that I've used in here from time to time. And they do make other fans that actually have this roof and these sides. There's a lot of places to mount things now if you want to, where you didn't have that option before. If you want to put a little bit more heavier duty fan in here and get some air circulating, even in the wintertime if you want it to blow around. But I've never had a problem with the windows fogging up since I've been using this. Normally in our area on a typical summer, we might reach the 90-degree mark or better 6 times, they say. That's the average. But we've already hit 90 degrees in June 7 times, and it looks like July is going to be about another 7 more times. We have about 3 or 4 90-degree days coming up. When I see that 90-degree mark, that's kind of a cutoff for me nowadays, not to be doing anything anyways. If I do something, it's going to be in the morning or the late evening. Whether I had a cab or not, that would be a standard for me, is to just stay away from 90-degree temperatures. it definitely is a satisfying feeling when you finally dig out a tree stump, because it is a little tedious sometimes depending on the size of the stump. Of course, the larger it is, the more tedious it is for a tractor like this. If you have a big huge excavator, one swipe and we'd be done in about 30 seconds. This took about 45 minutes altogether. Oh, real quick before I close this video out, I have an update on the people that took our chicken coop and what happened with that. So apparently that's not where the story ended, so I'm going to update you next week on that. Also, I still have that giveaway for the power station. If you check out 2 videos prior to this one, you'll see that I'm giving away a power station to anybody that's a subscriber and leaves a comment in that video. So check that out. Also beware of any spam when you do leave a comment. I'm not going to announce any of the winners until the evening of July 23rd. I'll put out a little video to say who the 2 lucky winners are. But again, that's the power station that Alcatel is giving away. 2 people can win it, and I'll pick 2 names, and then Alcatel will send out 2 people a power station. So I just wanted to cover that real quick, and now I can close this out. But that's my 2 cents on what it's like in the summertime to have a cab. It hasn't inhibited me any. It doesn't seem like it makes it any warmer. If anything, it gives you a little bit of shade and protect you from those sprinkles when they come around. So that's going to do it today. I hope you enjoy and subscribe to these videos. Click on that little bell when you want to know when a new one is coming out, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.